All right, I think we're starting to be live here. Let it load on Twitter.
I see a little eyeball at the top, so it must be, and I got a notification on my watch.
Sweet. Yeah, it looks like we're up.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm Raph, and I'm here with Jayrome today, and we thought we would shoot the shit.
Shoot the shit. That would look good across the screen right now. Just stellar talk, shooting the shit down in like air quotes below that or something.
That'd be good alliteration. Stellar shooting the shit. That could be our new name.
Yeah, we won't get any shares from SDF if we are using curse words or something like that.
We'll
I think
shadow banned. We probably already are.
We'd run into some troubles with legal, but yeah, I'm glad to be back with you. We've spent some time together on the road recently, so we can update everybody on how that went. Good to see you, Amir. Kind of getting some good mornings in the chat there. Sorry we missed you. Sorry you weren't able to travel, Amir, to hang out with us. But yeah, we can chat, talk about how it went in Prague for the Stellar Marketing event and Emergence and latest news, market movements. Are we allowed to speak about that?
We can talk about it.
We can talk about it. We're not affiliated. We can't. We're free. We can talk about it. What are your favorite planes? So let's start with the trip to Prague. First of all, did you get over there good? I mean, you went all the way from Canada. How was your flight there and back? I've got my own story, so this is kind of a loaded question, but
yeah, I gave up my seat to some other lady, and it didn't pay back. The karma didn't come back, unfortunately.
It didn't come back? Are you telling my story? I feel like that's part of my story. You gave up your seat too?
Yeah, on the way there.
Oh. Yeah, I had no idea. So I did the same thing. I had an open middle seat all the way from. I went from San Francisco to Prague, all the way to Munich. It's a long flight, 12 hours, and I get on, and it's like the middle seat's open right next to me. I'm on the window, and there's a guy sitting in the aisle, and it's like doors close, like last people coming down the aisle, no one sit, doors are shut. I'm like, finally, I can spread out a little bit. And then the kid on the aisle, he's like, hey, it's like 20 years old. He's like, hey, my friend's traveling with me, but we couldn't get seats next to each other. Would you mind if she came and sat here? And I'm just like, oh my God, I'd be such a jerk to say no. Like if I was traveling with my friend and there was just this guy that was just like, no, I want a little extra space on this flight, I'd be like, you're kind of a turd. So I did the good thing, but it paid back on the way home from Frankfurt to...
Did it pay back on the way home?
Well, once I finally got on the plane from Frankfurt to San Francisco, I did have an open seat next to me. But yeah, I got stuck in Frankfurt. I rescheduled and left a day early to come back. And yeah, I got stuck in Frankfurt. But thank goodness for the European travel rules. And I've got a nice credit coming back to me and spent the night in a hotel. So
you got some premium one-on-one time with the foundation on your way there.
Yeah, some forced one-on-one. Yeah, when I got on my flight in San Francisco, John totally embarrassed me here. But I get on in San Francisco, and of course SDF has offices there. So every time I'm getting on, I'm like, looking around, like, is there anybody else leaving? And it was like group one. So I'm like, oh, here's all the people going up to like business class or something. If there's some, executives on this flight, they're probably up there. So I look and I see a bald head, and I'm like, I kind of recognize that bald head. It wasn't a mirror or anything like that. And I'm like, that might be Jordan. So I take a picture and share it with a trusted group of people. And then I was like, hey, do we recognize anybody here? And someone said it looked like Jordan. I was like, yeah, I thought so too. So anyways, like land. And then I get messages that are saying like, oh yeah, I saw that picture. Like Kim from marketing is like, oh yeah, I saw that picture. So apparently it got shared out. But yeah, then on from Munich to Prague, I get on. So I knew Jordan was probably on that flight since he was on San Francisco to Munich.
Who's Jordan, by the way? What does Jordan do?
Chief Marketing Officer. Yeah, that Jordan. Sorry, not the other Jordan, which I have a good story about you and the other Jordan.
What?
So yeah, then I get on and I'm like looking for overhead bin space, not really paying much attention. And I find overhead bin space. I'm like, all right, here I am. And I look, and Jordan, of course, is sitting in the window seat, and I'm in the aisle seat, and there was an open middle seat. So yeah, I got to trap Jordan and pick his brain a little bit from Munich into Prague. So it was interesting. Very interesting. Prague's beautiful, by the way. can we just talk about how nice Prague was? I mean, we
It was
just
gorgeous.
were in London.
Way better than London.
Yeah, way better than London. Way
Yeah,
better. Pretty much everything about that place was better than London. But
yeah.
I will
Food was
tell you
good.
what, I have one of my biggest regrets that I will hold on to until I visit that place again is that I never got to enjoy one of those delicious looking chimneys of cinnamon sugar goodness
So
because I
good.
left early.
I had one on that Friday. It was delicious.
See, did you have like
I had
Nutella in the
melted
middle?
chocolate in the middle.
Oh, it's
It was
ridiculous.
yeah. Sorry, guy.
Oh, I'm like a sweets guy. You know, that's
You should have had that in Frankfurt.
I don't know. There's other stuff going on. So, anyways, that was my travel stories from the trip. But
Prague
yeah, I
was
guess
extremely Christmassy. It was Christmas lights and Christmas spirit and Christmas markets, everything Christmas.
yeah,
You
I
don't
really
like
liked it.
Christmas, don't go to Prague.
Yeah, it was very nice.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we should both start out with saying thanks to SDF for the invite to the marketing event.
Yeah, that was
So
cool.
Kim was mostly the one organizing that. Great job. The marketing event. So that was the day before Emergence, the Emergence conference, and that place was decked out. I mean, they did a killer job for the short time frame that they had to put this together. Everything from the swag to the design of the place to the little photo thing just coming in the door, which it's a small detail or whatever.
They
But
did 2 months, but it was supposed to be a dev event, and they ended up switching it last minute to become marketing. So that was a big pivot for them.
yeah, that's hard to pull off stuff like that in depth in that short amount of time. So kudos to the team from SDF, and it was super nice meeting everyone. So Kim, Tina, we didn't really get to talk to Teague that much. I know we need to organize a call
Teague
with
was sick.
him because I didn't get to chat much with Teague, so we'll have to.
Yeah, it was cool because we got to meet all the people that we don't usually typically talk to. So
Yeah,
that was like the cool thing. So like, for example, we walk in and then there's the guy who did the rebrand for the website, Diego, who like walks us through the entire process of his vision for Stellar and how they chose the color. He shows us this book that they've made. This book is not available online anywhere, by the way, but it talks about like all their design principles for Stellar, like goes way in it. And like, these are the stories that you would just never hear about. So like being able to talk with the creative team, the marketing team, the people that did the events, like the production company, like you ever wonder like those giant like Stellar signs, like where they come from? Like the Invisible North, the people that put the actual event together, they did the fabrications in Poland and then ended up bringing it to Prague. So like huge interconnected network of getting stuff ready. There was Stellar vases. Everything was branded everywhere. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I asked, what happens with all this stuff after events? And they said, some gets sent back to decorate the office and stuff like that. But I can just picture this gigantic storage container like in San Francisco or New York or something that just has tons of, swag from past events and stuff like that in it. But yeah, definitely the design and everything. But of course, like the whole point of it was a marketing event, so the actual content, the speakers and stuff I thought was top notch. I think we can both agree that it would have been nice to have more actual projects. There was like a lot of marketing people and there weren't a ton of projects there to kind of absorb that. So
but it was also really weird because like we had all these people that were involved in the marketing event that didn't have anything to do with Stellar, but it kind of gave it its charm where you had all these experts coming from other chains that came to speak and organize. So we had, for example, Safari, who moderated most of the sessions, and they're doing like a Web3 analytics, like a script that you put on your website. And then as you interact with wallets and stuff, it grabs information. So the Safari, there was the guy from Myosin. Funny story with Myosin. I ended up taking a cab with the guy back to the airport afterwards, and I got to talk about our project and what they were doing. Super cool. But it was really neat connecting with people that were from outside the ecosystem. If we had organized a Stellar event and we tried to sell people on Stellar, we say like, hey, Stellar's the best. Come and see this this event, we wouldn't have gotten many people. But because it was like a marketing event, like a comms related event, we had all these different people that just like were willing to do it just because it was beneficial for them.
Yeah. And it wasn't necessarily, I mean, it was kind of an event before Emergence. I mean, it was put on by Stellar, but it wasn't necessarily, I don't think, in my opinion, I didn't understand it to just be like, if you're building on Stellar, you're invited. It was more of like a very broad, because even the sessions weren't like tailored towards
No.
Stellar in any way. It was basically just crypto marketing, more broadly. So,
No.
um,
And I worked to our advantage. It was so good. Like, yeah, there's people from Solana there was a project from Solana that was there. I'm like, are you guys planning on building on Stellar? And they're like, nope, we're just here. And like, and those are the people you just want to have a conversation with. Like, you don't have to pressure people into doing anything, but just being able to show, like, as a side conversation, what you're doing on a platform is a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
So.
And to your point, people from other ecosystems, if they aren't familiar with Stellar or anything and they just came for some free food, I do think it presented well. Everything from the speakers to just the professionalism to the food, the venue. I mean, everything, it showed well. So, it would have been different if people from other ecosystems come in and it's like some cheesy hack event that's just like obviously thrown together last minute or something like that. It would have been different, but they did a really good job with the content and stuff. But
yeah, it wasn't Stellar is the best. It was like, come see us. Like, we'll talk about stuff, and then you can see how Stellar can help you. So there, at the end, there was like roundtables with different experts, and then there was also like a table for like Stellar Community Fund for people looking to build. So yeah, it wasn't. Although there was Stellar everywhere at the event, it wasn't Stellar in your face.
Yeah, but you say the roundtable. That freaking horn that they blew after like 10 minutes to rotate tables or whatever. I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, that will be at the top of my my feedback list, is whatever that insane horn noise was that was like way too loud to rotate was piercing to the ears.
Some PTSD from that, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, that was super cool. Had a ton of fun there. Glad I made it. I think it was worthwhile. Hopefully there are recordings. I believe everything was recorded. Because like I said, a lot of projects in the ecosystem could benefit from a lot of stuff that was said. And there were 2 live go-to-market feedback, and the 2 projects that they put up there were Phoenix and Blend. And I know Phoenix, and we talked to them before and after, and I know they thought that didn't go great for them, which, I mean, it didn't. So for people that weren't there, so they had Phoenix went up there, and it was Milan went up there and kind of just explained their project, did like a kind of like a super brief pitch, and like showed their landing page or something.
Yeah.
And then they got like feedback from a panel of experts.
Was it 4 or 5 people?
I think it was 4.
4 to 1. So there's Milan sitting there, and there's 4 people grilling him.
Yeah, and you could tell that the experts were kind of made aware beforehand, because they had some knowledge of the project beyond what Milan said, just like in his quick little spiel. But anyways, like the questions they hit him back with were, he's like on the front end side, so a lot of the questions, it was just hard. They were hard questions, even for any project. They weren't there to kind of like pat you on the back. They were there as what's his name said, maybe like tell you your baby's ugly, like someone's.
But it's literally on a stage with 4 judges and an entire audience, and everyone's watching this.
Yeah. So the feedback, I mean, they got some feedback, some maybe criticism you could call it. And so I know we talked to them afterward, and they kind of felt attacked a little bit just because of the way it went. But what we told them was, that was for people were listening to the experts and the feedback that they were giving. They weren't like assessing, do I want to use Phoenix Stacks? I want to?
They knew nothing about Phoenix beforehand.
Yeah, there weren't users necessarily that they were trying to appeal to in the audience. It was meant to show a project, and then to have the experts give feedback, and everyone in the audience can benefit from the stuff that the conversation that's happening there. So
yeah,
I thought those went good. I mean, they don't feel the same, but it was worthwhile for us, even just us listening to some of the stuff. And we're not necessarily that type of, project, builders on Stellar necessarily. So no. I thought it was worthwhile.
From people outside of the ecosystem. So people that have never used a Stellar wallet or interactive with what we have available, like it was all external feedback, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was all that was all good stuff.
John mentioned any liquidity feedback. Yeah, I think liquidity, it wasn't too much a part of the panel, but they did kind of mention it. Okay, what's your TVL? What do you have? TVL was a bit about in the conversation. It wasn't the main driver of the conversation. I think the main driver was like how it looked and how it presented itself. And they actually brought up their Twitter page and talked about their communications and stuff. But yeah, TVL was a part of that, just not the main focus.
Yeah, and I think when Andrew was up there from Script 3 talking about blend, he kind of pushed back on the TVL number or something. I remember there being a little bit of an interaction there where he was like, TVL is not everything, but it's certainly a metric that a lot of places use to determine your worthiness. So yeah, I think does that kind of cover the marketing event. Was there anything else people would want to know about what went on there?
We'll get to see all the cool people, and then we got to hang out with the cool people that we met at the marketing event at the conference. So that was like the big segue in, is that anybody that we met at the marketing event where we spent that night with, it was just a big takeaway to go to Emergence. It was cool.
Yeah. And if no one else has been to an event that we've been to, the way you and I work at these things, it's kind of like a good cop, bad cop thing. You're like the friendly guy that just talks to everybody. And like, it's really hard to track Raph down sometimes because he just gets in conversations and just like kind of goes off in the distance and you can't find him. And I'm more of
You lose me for like hours on end. I can just disappear.
Oh yeah, he's a talker. You could be on the dance floor. You never know. If there's a dance floor around, you might find him there. But yeah, Raph is not afraid to interject himself in any conversation, which is the other thing I was going to mention about Jordan. Remember when we were trying to find a place to eat lunch at Emergence, and we're like trying to find a table, and you're just like, you're the type of person, like you see someone that like you want to talk to, and it's like, it doesn't matter what that person is doing at all. You're going to go talk to them. And so like Jordan was literally having like a face-to-face at a table with someone, and you're just like, hey, I'm Raph.
Yeah.
But of course he's in partnerships. He's probably pretty good with dealing with that. I forget what he said, but he was very polite about being like, okay, well, can I catch you in a few minutes or something like that? You're like, yeah, no problem. Cool. Nice.
I never saw him afterwards though. He never came to see me.
No, he never came to see you.
It's okay.
Omar was another one that we met. Omar's super cool. And his friend
Super
Jessie,
cool.
She was super cool.
Super cool. She was the lawyer for Zcash.
Yeah, or was, right? She's not
She
still.
was.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Narc. Calling her a narc. So let's talk about Emergence. What would your feedback be for Emergence? How was that? This was put on by The Block, which I have my own kind of beefs with that guy for reasons from Meridian. But what did you think about the event as a whole?
I think when you walk in, you kind of get the kind of understanding of how Emergent went. It was, you got a swag bag that was a bag and a small t-shirt.
Well, yeah.
And it was a small Tron t-shirt, sorry. And
I
it was
have that
European small, not like North American small shirt. Like that thing would have been white. So I needed an extra shirt because I was running out of laundry at that point.
You and me both.
Yeah, so I had to go talk to some people, schmooze at some booths to get some shirts. But yeah, that was it. And then some people who showed up late got a bag as their swag, and some people got nothing later on. So yeah, it would have. I think it was a really big venue. But I think when you think about like numbers and stuff, the numbers in the conference didn't really make sense. You kind of see like the swag bag idea, same idea. Numbers didn't make sense for the conference. Very large, extremely large location, but everyone's kind of spread out. And the main stage, for example, those seats were incredibly comfortable, but at no point in time was there more than a third of them filled up, just because everyone is so spread out in the conference.
Yeah. Yeah, the scale was very big, and I don't know if they were expecting a bunch more people. I have a feeling that they were expecting a lot bigger crowd, and that venue made sense. But just comparing it to Meridian, Meridians it's more of like an intimate thing. It's not, and I don't think that's not just because it's just a stellar ecosystem focused event as opposed to like a more broad event like Emergence. It was just the space in the room. You're in a gigantic auditorium. I don't even know what you would call that, but it was massive.
Yeah.
And so people would walk in and there's probably like, I don't know, 50 rows down to like the front or something like that. And it's, I don't know how many seats wide. And so I would pop in and just like grab a seat in the back. And so like I'm 50 rows away from the speakers. I mean, they've got them up on a TV. So I mean, I didn't really need to be close, but everyone was just so spread out. And so they should have just condensed it down, because as a speaker, I feel like most of them probably felt like they were talking to an empty room because everyone was so spread out. You know, for some of the talks, it was decently full probably, but you couldn't tell because there was just so much space in there. So they only had two kind of auditoriums that they were doing stuff in. I think I only went to the other one right when we got there. Other than that, I was just on the main stage.
And it was really cringe when we went. So
yeah. So some of the content was good. I mean, it was kind of a bummer. A lot of the people you would want to see were virtual firesides.
the Tether guy, Justin Sun. There was a couple others. Oh, the Anatoly.
Yeah.
Those were all virtual. So
yeah. So it's like kind of takes away from the in-person aspect, and you know, finding those people in the hall to say hi to, take a picture, pick their brain for a second while you're trying to have some little finger foods. You know, that whole aspect is gone when all the important people are there virtually. So
and lots of panels. So it wasn't like people presenting their projects or talking about it. It was like discussion aspects. But then there was never a big kind of like, here's like a big announcement or something. It was essentially just, here's another discussion.
Yeah. So SDF had two panels that they were on, and it was Ada Vaughn had one, and then Aaron Kelly had one. And so Aaron does the DeFi stuff, or sorry, Ada does DeFi.
Yeah.
And then Aaron does kind of the real world asset side of stuff. And isn't it kind of funny to see someone up on stage from SDF and their title is like director of DeFi or something like that? It's like,
I think you should have like wizard or something.
Look how far we've come. We have a director of DeFi on Stellar.
Right. Woo woo.
Yeah, woo, toot toot. We need
cool
sound effects. This is when we would do the explosion sound if we were. Yeah. But both those panels I thought went good. I wasn't really familiar with, I mean, I knew who Ada and Aaron were, but I had never seen them speak. I hadn't really, did we meet them before they went on stage? I think Ada,
I met them both.
Yeah, of course you did. But yeah, I thought they did great. You know, I think in that type of place where there's a lot of different ecosystems and just kind of being a new player in the dinosaur or zombie or whatever some people want to call us, there's kind of this delicate dance of us we can't really shout too loud like we're the best because we're kind of new. You know, I always go back to Tyler when we first launched smart contracts and him being like, we need to earn our right to be in those conversations. And so during those talks, I was kind of thinking of that. Like I hope they don't, you know, speak in a way that's like we rule the world, but they both did a really good job speaking on it. And one thing I'll mention that was hilarious was, what was the other CEO when the Solana question? And she's like, there's no one here from Solana. Why are we talking about Solana?
It was Algorand, the lady from Algorand.
Woolen, Sherry Woolen or something like that. Woolen. She
called it out. She's like, we're not talking Solana.
Yeah. So it was a panel and there was no one from Solana. And there was like a question. This was the panel with Aaron Kelly. And so and then the CEO from the other ecosystem. And the moderator asked something about Solana. And she literally just like pipes up immediately. And it was like, there's no one here from Solana, so why are we talking about them? And it was just kind of, we were sitting with like all the SDF people, right, like in the front to kind of like support Aaron, and then everyone just kind of like looked at each other like, damn.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it was good. I didn't get it on video though. I wish I got it on video. I was gonna give her a high five if I saw her in the halls, but I never saw her in the halls.
I found that the Ada talk was the only one. There was a guy that was beside her that was like a little bit disconnected, but I sometimes felt like Ada was kind of like disregarded. Like I feel like she had good things to say, but I felt like other people had a bigger message that they wanted to get out and didn't really build on what she was saying. That was kind of my only thing. I talked to one of the guys from Blend and he says, I really liked Ada's talk. But I think I just like walked in with that same mindset that you did of we need to earn ourselves at that table. And when I hear those talks with big names, I'm like, oh shit, like what are we, like, how are we going to stand out? Are they going to listen to us? And I feel almost insecure with those conversations.
Yeah, it depends on who it is. If it's Tomer up there, it's like I know he's no matter what they come at him with or
Yeah.
whether which angle they try and come at him from. I've seen enough of him talking in those type of scenarios where I know he can just roll with the punches and turn it around. Whereas, yeah, we hadn't seen Ada or Aaron kind of be in that situation. So
I
not that
thought
it
Aaron
was
was
like
really well spoken. Aaron was
yeah,
good. She's super
yeah, they
professional.
both they both did good and handled themselves
Yeah.
well. So. Yeah, that was good. I'm trying to think anything else from the conference. Yeah, the empty swag bag was kind of a bummer. The picture
It
of
was
you in the
very
too small Tron shirt that is a
the
pretty good
conference was
touch.
very it was different than a typical crypto conference. It reminds me why I like Meridian so much, but it was very like every conversation memes were brought up. Memes all the time, memes. Like the first panel we walk in on and some ladies talking about how it's a consumer oriented chain and memes are good, and then you go to their website and it's koalas everywhere. Like, and then you can get an animal in a zoo, and this is a layer. No, this was a layer 2. Like I don't know, at the protocol level, if you're pushing it, like I don't know, it's kind of shammy.
Yeah.
Just like I feel like there was a bigger message that we can push as crypto, and we kind of got lost in that in a lot of these panel talks.
You mean the TVs showing the live Bitcoin price as it went through 100,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's exciting though. Like you're breaking 100 while you're at the conference. It's
Yeah.
people are like validated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there were positive things, and I took some photos of some aspects that I thought would be cool for future meridians and stuff like that. So I mean, there's always we're bringing up. I guess it sounds like we're kind of being negative, except for the SDF panels of the whole event. And it was the first year of the event. They've obviously got some things that they'll learn along the way, but just as a whole, when comparing it to Meridian, it's not even in the same ballpark.
No.
I mean,
It's utility oriented versus I think it was too broad, right? Like you don't have a dev stage, like you have no content for devs. It's like it's too broad. It's not specifics. It's not like how do you use something. It's a conversation bit.
yeah.
Like that was
And
like
this-
one of the main criticisms from a couple of people is that like they go in and they want dev content. They want to like learn about those platforms, the technologies they have, and the technologies of these platforms was just not something discussed.
Yeah. Had you been to a more broad conference like that before, or just Meridians?
Just Meridians. I've been to crypto events before though.
Yeah, but not like something on that scale.
No,
I didn't know what to expect really, and now I don't know. Maybe it was just a first year thing with Emergence. Would consensus feel the same? Kind of just like too big?
I think Consensus has a lot of side events. Like you can go a bit of everywhere and get what you want. Here you had like a big event that was just a big event. It didn't really have those kind of side pieces.
Side pieces.
Yeah. The Stellar event was probably my favorite out of the entire. Again, putting the fact that I love Stellar aside, like the marketing event was actually probably the most interesting. It was the more well put together event out of the entire week.
Yeah, and I saw there were a lot of the people that were either the experts leading the panels at the Stellar event, to see them afterwards, then talking about Stellar, and then of course their reach is in other ecosystems and stuff. Only good can come from that.
I met Samuel from Artifine at the conference. A couple of people I met, but exchanging info. You take that Telegram picture together, you exchange contact. But then he sent me a message last week. Earlier this week and says, "Hey, can we organize a call?" And I said, "Yeah, for sure. Let's go do it." And he wanted to learn about Stock Community Fund. So again, like it's really cool being able to build those relationships and then take them back with you afterwards. So yeah, it was cool. It was a really positive experience. And I like my main takeaway from that entire thing is those connections of the people that we don't usually talk to. That was my big one.
Yeah. In-person stuff is very important. I guess that's why companies are trying to force people back in the office, right?
I really want to see more local events across like either Europe or North America. I think we're at the point with crypto where especially in a bear market, it's really hard to go to events and people that come know nothing. But with the attention crypto's gotten, like everyone knows a little bits and pieces about different ecosystems. So I think it's getting easier and easier to get people when you organize localized events. So again, I would like to see more in-person events that are not necessarily tied to a conference.
Yeah.
With people from the ecosystem there. We need projects.
Yeah, for sure. Well, with that, let's talk about some project updates or some news.
You
What's
want to talk
been going on?
about Blend V2?
You want me to talk about Blend V2?
Yeah, you probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah, maybe. So they were at the marketing event. So they sent Andrew and Ryan to the marketing event. So we got to hang out with them and learn a little bit about Blend V2 before their announcement yesterday. So I mean, I'll just read just kind of the high level stuff, and then we can talk about how it kind of translates into users and some quirks that are going to happen during that upgrade. So of course, Blend probably or not probably right not probably is the project with the highest TVL on Sorbonne right now. I would imagine by what
Quite a bit.
are we counting Aqua? Do we count Aqua?
I would say Aqua Pools count. They're
Yeah,
Sorbonne.
I guess. So lending and borrowing, let's just put it that way. By far the biggest project for lending and borrowing on Sorbonne. So they announced that they're coming out with a V2, which is great. There's been some things holding back the yield blocks pool on Blend.
What's been
But so
holding it back?
V2, they're going to incorporate flash loans.
That's yeah.
They
TDEP is integrating that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I saw on GitHub that TDEP from Cyclu Labs is going to be spearheading that one. It'll support more assets per pool, which has been holding back the yield blocks pool from doing more than 4 assets, and some just optimization stuff that's not really going to change the front end as much. But wallet integrations, obviously, that's one thing that they really hope for from a use case perspective, is wallets being able to tie in, offer their users of their wallet kind of one-click yield opportunities. So hopefully the Blend and Beans collaboration can finally happen that we talked about. Let's see, that's like
They were
Meridian.
talking that people started using it in Maru. They said that like one day Maru had just plugged into Blend, and they had like a crap ton of users that had just shown up. So like
Yeah,
one thing
and I
they
don't even
really
think I
wanted
was
to
aware that they
they were going
were,
to do it.
since that's not targeted to around here. So I wasn't really even aware that Maru was tied in there. But yeah, so they're doing some optimizations to allow wallets and stuff to be able to more easily tie in. So hopefully that turns into more usage. Gas resource optimizations, that's not really a front end, not really. I mean, obviously that's good for users being able to be a little more optimized there. And then easier pool launches. One thing I brought up to them was the reward zone. There's this concept of reward zones on Blend, and there's only certain pools that will get Blend emissions. And I think when it was launched, it started at 10, and then every like certain amount of ledgers, I think it equated to like 2 or 3 a year, it would bump up to another one in the reward zone. But at the current rate, I don't think we were ever going to touch that. And so that kind of changed the tokenomics of the Blend token, because eventually it was going to be like a competition. You needed your backstop to be, so the reward zone is determined by backstop size. So if your backstop isn't within the reward zone, you don't get Blend emissions.
It's top 10, right, or something.
It started with 10, and then every X amount of ledgers, which I think equated to like 2 or extra 3 a year. So right now we're probably at like 12 pools are allowed in the reward zone, and we have like 4 or 5. I think there's only 3 shown. The ClickPesa one is frozen or whatever. So I had mentioned to them, that kind of throws off the tokenomics a little bit of the Blend token, maybe, because at some point, if people are competing for the reward zone, obviously you need more Blend for the backstop, since it's 80% Blend, 20% USDC to make up that backstop token. So I said, do we need to, with Blend V2, can that be bumped down? Like, can we start from a reasonable spot so that eventually that will come into play? So I don't know if that'll happen. There was another suggestion I think I put in the Discord, but I don't. I was wondering if there was a way to make the backstop deposits liquid. So, you have a 21-day withdrawal from the backstop. If there was a way that you could
collateral or something.
What's that?
You can trade it. You can use it as collateral. You can use it to do stuff. Although you're locked into the backstop, that backstop LP is tokenized.
Yeah. So if you were able to, I guess the functionality that would need to exist would be the transferability of backstop tokens within the backstop. So like, say I have 1,000 LP tokens in the backstop. If I was able to not withdraw them immediately, but like transfer ownership in the backstop, then I think there's a project that could exist to tokenize those deposits to allow you to use them elsewhere. So those are kind of my ideas, but they really want to build this thing in the open. So if anyone's interested in helping build it or just give feedback. I also saw today Marcus posted that, and I didn't even know about this, there's apparently 50 million blend that get released on a protocol update, or sorry, on so when they go to V2, there's going to be 50 million blend emitted somewhere. I didn't have much details on where those go, but it said the people that work on it determine where they go. So there's apparently an opportunity to do a decent amount of earning if you want to contribute to the project. So check it out on GitHub. Just search Script3 blend. I don't even know. We can try and throw a link in a description or something. But if you're good at the Google foo, it won't be too hard to find the blend V2 GitHub and contribute there.
It was funny during the conference. Somebody brought up those APRs are so crazy that it looks like a scam.
Yeah. And I think I tweeted something about that yesterday. That
did you tweet that?
Yeah, and then you retweet. Yeah, so it does. It looks high. I mean, right now we're still in the infancy of this protocol, and so the blend emissions account for a lot of earning. So that's why I keep trying to push people that way, especially to the yield blocks pool.
110%. Honestly, I will probably. I'm right now in the XLM USDC pool, but if there's more assets and I have to move them, let's say I think through V1 to V2, I need to move. So I will probably end up moving it to a bigger pool.
Yeah. So that's another thing I should have mentioned. So the blend emissions, once blend V2 exists, the blend emissions will still go to V1 pools until the backstops are greater on V2, and at which point all of the blend emissions will go to V2 pools. Yeah. So the yield blocks DAO will have an opportunity to kind of accelerate that and maybe be the first pool over there, just because they have a treasury already full of a lot of blend and they have a bunch of backstop that already exists in their own pool. So there's still little details that will need worked out there, but yes, there will be a point where people are withdrawing from V1 pools and moving to V2 pools.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it affects price as people withdraw from the backstop and then have access to their blend token between that transition.
Yeah, that's true. But also once people start moving over, as soon as it does that switch where it's over half of the deposits are there, there's that time where all of the blend emissions are now only going to like half of the amount of people. So there's going to be, if you're a quick mover and you're there when the switch gets flipped to point all the blend emissions to V2, you'll just be raking in the rewards for a while till everybody moves over. So
I think also the flip side is holding on to their emissions as long as possible.
Yeah.
While people are waiting to move. So you can let everyone fight and just hold off your position, or you can try to be in early and get emissions first. It goes both ways. I don't know. I think it evens out.
Yeah.
Either way, you gotta wait 20. Is it 20 days?
21. Yeah.
21 days. 21 long days.
So I think they're expecting like maybe February, March or something like that. Yeah. So just follow along on GitHub, I guess.
Second thing we're going to bring up today was balanced. I'll turn on my screen here. But balance is coming from a project. They've applied for. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Actually, nope, that doesn't do anything. They applied for Select Community Fund for a long time ago, and finally went live. It comes from a project called Icon, or they have the ICX. They've been around for a really long time, and they've kind of built their product into like a cross-chain interoperability kind of chain, like essentially part of the super chain. And you can kind of see on this page here all the assets they kind of support: AVAX, SUI, I don't know, Injective, I don't know, Craft. This is Icon. For example, right now you have Stellar on Icon that you can actually put on there. Side note, today I learned from a post on Reddit that you can have XLM on Binance Chain. Don't know why you would, but you can. So you learn something every day. And of course, ETH. So this is their kind of website here. There's 3 portions: home, trade, and vote. I'm assuming vote is just for their DAO. But essentially you can put up collateral and deposit it and then use it. You can loan it out, make some APR. And then if you want to trade it, there's an option to supply it to, and you can see actually their APRs that you can actually start using. Actually pretty hefty, 85% to 212. I don't know how, 10,000 liquid, fees $16. I'm not exactly sure all the details of it, but again, those APRs as listed look extremely attractive. If we look at, do we have a Stellar
This
one?
reminds me of Osmosis. That's like the layout of this looks
Oh,
just like Osmosis.
interesting. Right now it looks like they must have like a reward system, because you can see the BALN has a certain percentage and then the fees are low. And then you look at Stellar here, there's 0.61 fees, but none of those. It looks like probably reward tokens or something. So yeah, there's not a lot of liquidity, but you can provide and get an APR. Yeah. And then it lets you also bridge between different chains.
I think is the bridge what I feel like they've been posting a lot, and it seems like the bridge was something that.
Yeah. So here's to bridge my Stellar XLM to Icon XLM. Like I can go, I think I can swap. So I think I can do like XLM here, and then I can go to AVAX. I can go to Avalanche and then say how much I want. Then it gives me a rate. So it does let you hop between different chains. I'm a big user of Allbridge. I've used Allbridge for bridging a lot, but this, again, having more avenues where you can kind of plug into is still pretty cool. Yeah, the more the merrier. So again, you can provide liquidity, pretty straightforward. Sorry, you can provide liquidity, and I'm assuming these people are trading between these pools on different chains.
Interesting.
Yeah. They've approached us to do a talk. We could be doing it next week, possibly. It'd be nice to do. But they seem to be committed to the ecosystem.
That's good. People coming through SCF that have a commitment. That's good.
Yeah. So here, for example, just last little thing, you can loan out or get, BNUSD, as I'm assuming that you deposit your XLM as collateral. You mint some BNUSD, and then here, like you have like that 17% APR. Yeah.
So it's kind of like an FX DAO type situation there, where you're backing a stable coin with XLM.
That's my understanding. I could be just making stuff up. Somebody mentioned on Twitter, how do we track taxes within all these different ecosystems? Well, that's incredibly complicated. I would say there's a couple of Stellar tax tools. Maybe we can post it in the chat. But there are a couple that will export all of your transaction history to a CSV file. But essentially, when you're dealing with multiple chains, you're just going to have to do within these different tools. I've tried using like tax analysis tools where you can plug in your wallet from different chains. I never find they do a really good job on Stellar. The best way to track is manually as you do trades until you do Aqua rewards, and then when you do Aqua rewards, your taxes are just hooped. So have fun.
Yeah, there's work that needs to be done there. That's for sure.
We need a really good tax tool for Stellar for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of what balance looks like. Looks pretty nifty. It's well put together.
And I know you obviously are heavily involved with SCF and voting just concluded. Are there any cool things there that are going through this round that you could call out?
I think there's 50 different projects in this round. We keep seeing more meme projects. We have some new tools that are showing up. For example, almanacs. They used to be on a different name. I can't remember what it was, but we met them at Meridian too. They seem pretty interested with the ecosystem. They've put out some stuff recently this week. We've tweeted it out. And then there's the Hermes and the Hermes
Hermes. Is
perpetual.
that how you say that? Isn't it
Hermes?
Hermes? I don't know.
Oh, I think it's Hermes. I don't know.
Hermes? I don't know. Isn't it like
In
the
different
fancy,
languages? I'm sure it's said differently.
isn't it like the fancy bags that just like the girls wear?
I think it's also the guy who does like ancient Greece and does the messaging with the
I mean, that's probably where it originally came from.
I don't know. But it's a perpetual exchange. So we do have some new DeFi protocols that are looking to build. We do have, DeFi Index from the Palta Labs team. There's again a bit of everything.
But one thing that did come up at the marketing event with those guys was they asked, what needs built? And I know before Naman left SDF, he was talking about kind of creating an RFP type thing where it was like, here's what we need, submit your proposals to build it type thing. Well, and I think Boxy has something similar. I know you had shown or sent a link to one of the guys to a page on Boxy's site for I think before the hackathon of kind of ideas that needed built. But
here, let me open it up.
Yeah, there's teams out there that want to build. I mean, obviously it helps if there's funding, but when it comes to Stellar, they're like, what needs built? If they're not familiar with the ecosystem, they don't know. They don't want to come build something where there's already like 10 people doing it or something. Yeah. Until the pie gets bigger, there's not a ton of room for, multiple protocols doing kind of identical things. So having a place where we can refer people to that, has a list of what's missing in the ecosystem or what certain things that need competition to just help things be better, then that would be great. So
yeah, we definitely have to have something that's like ecosystem maintained, because I think the needs of the ecosystem definitely change. Like we see a lot of like for example, in this hackathon thing, talk about like NFTs and NFT ticketing, and I've seen a couple of different projects over the last 2 rounds that have done that. So okay, well now what do we want? Or like for example, in DApps here, Pump.Fun Fork. Well, we have Meme City that just went through the Stellar Community Fund. So again, we're seeing kind of, or XLM meme is kind of the big one right now. Like we're seeing lots, and it's kind of it changes over time. So we definitely have something where we can kind of suggest and have conversation with projects. It's just like when you go to the Stellar Community Fund, you want to propose an idea that's different. You don't want to be the same as everybody else. You want to stand out, and like whatever your idea is, if you're looking to build on Stellar, make it fun. Be playful. Like don't take yourself too seriously. I think that's kind of like the key. Like whatever idea you do, just have fun with your project. There was that I think they were in SCF 31. They came back. It was Ramp Me Daddy. From the Telegram on and off ramp. Like just that name is just stellar. It's just so good. I've never used their product. I don't know, but again, don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with your ideas.
Ramp Me Daddy.
Yeah. I talked about it actually in my talk with the Prague development studio today, and they had a good laugh. They were like, yeah, that's an awesome name.
Yeah. Ramp Me Daddy. Like what's his name? Was it Will's shirt? The onboarding your mom shirt?
Onboarding your mom since 2017 or something. Yeah, it was really good. That was the Faceless Labs team, Evan and Alex, I think. That sounds right.
Is it Evan?
Someone mentioned, Raph, how do I learn how to build on Stellar? It's a great question.
You follow all Raph's tutorials on YouTube. Is exactly what you do to complete.
There's a Stellar Quest, which is a great way to start, I would say, for anyone. I'll post it up on the chat here. It's a great way to start your adventure, and then once you've dipped your toes, start to look for other things. Stellar Quest has 2 iterations. There is Stellar Classic, which was kind of before smart contracts, and there is the smart contract side of Stellar Quest. I think the smart side is kind of broken right now, of that education side. But dip your toes in the classic side. Once you understand the SDEX, like dream big. Like there's so much you can do.
Yeah. And I almost feel like he was trolling you anyways. I've seen that guy in the Discord. I think he's
train me master.
Yeah.
I got you. Let me show you. I got you.
Yeah. And I mean, Protocol 22 went live while we were gone without a hitch. And that does usually, when those protocol updates happen, the Stellar Quest kind of needs some rework. Yeah. So yeah.
That's Protocol 22. And I think it's really kind of like back end changes. We're not really going to see as an end user those changes in like directly. We're going to see it through products. So here, I can share my screen here. Again, some of this is mumbo jumbo for me, so I don't really know everything. But again, be a new BLS encryption. I'm assuming, from my understanding, it's like different knowledge proofs we can kind of enable. There's more that we can do on the protocol as a developer.
Yeah, this wasn't like an AMM, protocol 18 type thing where it's like this thing where end users, there's a bunch of new projects. This is more of a tooling type thing that allows more types of things to be built. So
yeah, so they say implementing constructors makes contracts more efficient, reducing size, lowering CPU, minimizing storage requirements. That was a big one.
This was also supposed to be the update, I believe, that actually kicked off state expiration, but they kicked that can down the road till the next protocol update, I believe. So
yeah. I know that this, like, there was a project from Dogstar that they wanted to do a trustless bridge. Again, a little scary tech wise, but with you couldn't do it until the new features of Protocol 22. So again, new updates just means new toys for us in a while after developers have used these new options for their DeFi protocols.
Yeah. But it went off without a hitch. I know it's Nico, dude. He's got a funny Twitter. Like, he doesn't really post much, but the stuff that he does post, I just find hilarious. I don't know. Like,
he's starting to jump in a little bit more.
A little bit. I mean, it's not always like 100% Stellar related. Like, I saw a tweet from him that was like, I went to it was like quote tweeting something about like a train in San Francisco being like 1,300 minutes behind or something like that. And he's like, yeah, so personal news, I went to a concert with not a number friends last night. Like, couldn't make it there because the train was so far behind. But yeah, he's got some zingers
sharing his profile.
Yeah, in other news.
But yeah, like in 22 hard forks, and I'm still holding my breath when the vote happens. So again, it is, people have like been around for a long time. I think Nico's CTO.
Yeah.
For a long time, he wasn't really active on Twitter, but it seems like he's kind of jumping back into things.
Yeah. Dipping his toes, maybe.
Dipping his toes.
And we saw him briefly at SDF when we were there. He was I think it was like right in the entrance when we walked in, and then he disappeared into his office and we didn't see him again. But what else? Market movements, anything? We got Kale Pale still, chapter 3 of the Kale project.
The Kale project.
Posted. That's more of a you thing with the lore. Have you read through it?
I haven't read the lore, but I can show the project. I think it's the Kale project. If nobody's used it, you really should. The passkey, chapter 1, view the project. I know it's hosted somewhere. One sec. It's been a second that I've done it. Where is the hosted version? Kale.
The hosted version?
He's going to hate me. I got to get this live. Okay, one sec.
TikTok.
Give me 2 seconds. Sing a song. Keep them busy.
Sing a song. They don't want to hear my. They don't want to hear
beautiful
my voice.
What are you talking about?
No. It's too early in the morning.
It
is still morning. I got 6 more minutes of morning here.
I found it.
Finally. Fred was about to jump in and let everybody know where to find it.
Super cool.
Well, you can't say super cool and then show cool. This. You got to do a little more explaining of what this is and what Kale is.
I have a limited vocabulary. Everything is super cool. That's why we need a sound effects board, so we can do.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of sound effects would be for like a farm. Maybe like a raking sound or something. Yeah. But what's happening here is essentially, you, by going on the site, your CPU is actually participating, solving for these hashes, Let's look at it. We plant. Oh gosh, I don't know if you can see my stuff.
So,
Here.
I mean, put simply for anyone that hasn't played with it, it's a kale is a proof of work asset proof
Proof
of
of
teamwork
Teamwork.
that Tyler would call it.
But what's really cool is that you have a wallet that's passkey wallet, so you never have a seed phrase. You don't have to fund this wallet. It's actually all of your transactions with the smart contracts and claiming these assets is all done through LaunchTube. Oh, sorry, I got to click work first. So every time I'm interacting with these smart contracts, it's like done on my behalf. Like I never have to do it myself, and I never have to pay fees. So I'm having like this really complex interaction with a smart contracts protocol, and I'm with a DeFi app, and I'm never having to touch wallet. So, I think that's from before. Harvesting, and I think this is where it's solving stuff right now.
Yeah.
So again, it's a really cool implementation of passkeys on Stellar, proof of work assets. It's kind of like his playground. So yeah.
Yeah. And Tyler's working with Bree to create, kind of like a story behind this that I believe all that's posted on GitHub. So maybe you can find the GitHub to send people to, but it's a cool project. We don't know what's going to come with it. He's got kind of a list of things, kind of like we talked about earlier, as far as SCF, like a list of ideas that we'd like to see. He has a list of things, how people could kind of incorporate the Kale asset, some things like use it to base membership roles on like a Discord, stuff like that. So don't know where the end state will be for it, but he's obviously having fun and kind of proving out some features.
Yeah,
as far as the passkeys and stuff like that.
It's a great way to prove a feature. Like I think, what did he do before? He did the guest book with passkeys, where like you can like record things on chain, like messages, and it was just a way to like record things on chain, and you didn't have to interact. This is just kind of his next little playground.
Yeah,
he actually recently submitted a project into the Reflector Discord. Let's see if I can open it up. Because he participated in the Reflector Dev Comp that's happening right now. And it is, let's see if I can open it up here. Submission.
Let's have all this queued up, man. What is this like?
There we go. Here it is, Reflector Predict, which it reminds me a little bit of Sorbonne games, but essentially it is you make predictions on price, and then you can, here you go. Yeah, so bet login, bet assets, bet round, bet, and then whatever, manage your bets. And then you can bet on these different assets from different chains. And then higher, lower, different things. Again, it reminds me a lot of Sorbonne games.
Yeah. Very close to Sorbonne games.
Claim any reward for a round you've won, 1 for 100. So again, this is his application into that dev comp.
Yeah.
If you do want to explore Sorbonne oracles, go check out the Reflector Discord. There's a competition that's going on until the 15th. There's 3 more days.
Yeah. So Reflector, I'm sure most people here are familiar, but if you're not, Reflector is an oracle for Sorbonne, and they have a dev competition going on right now. How are the entries looking for that? Is there anything interesting? I know they extended the entry phase for that.
Times. There's someone produced some content today, and then Kale Pill, Tyler put up his two submissions, and then there was someone else who did here it is, their project that they've already been doing. Lena.defi. But again, there's 30K in prizes, 30K paid in the Reflector token. I'm pretty sure it is, because Reflector token XRF is trading at Seller Expert. I think it's trading at 0.25.
Freedom dollars, a quarter of a freedom dollar.
Yeah, around 0.25. So there's 120,000 that's given out. Yeah.
You said 300,000, right?
30,000.
30,000.
Yeah. There's 30,000 in prizes, and there's only a couple of submissions. So if you are interested in oracles, you want to play, there's tons of prizes and not a lot of submissions. Great opportunity.
And when does that end? When do entries need to be submitted by?
December 15th.
So you got 3 more days. That Friday, or no, today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you got till Sunday.
Yeah, it's kind of a short window for devs, but if you are you want to make content for it, they're looking for walkthroughs. It's not just dev related. There's a content section of the dev comp. Yeah, see if I can pull it up.
Cool. Is there anything else big that's been happening that we should cover before we hop off here? We've been going for about an hour.
We never talked price. Did you want to talk price?
I mean, I think people are in tune with what the price is. What about the broader market? What are I'm not good at anything that involves, investing. So I'm the last one you'd want to be listening to. I'm just a fan of certain projects, but that doesn't necessarily mean that tokens that are related to them are going to be great.
Yeah.
Of course, I love all the blend stuff. They got a huge first mover advantage. I personally am a fan of the yield blocks pool, and that's not even just because there's a token that relates to the treasury of that yield blocks pool. It's more just I feel like I'm a part of something. Like if I have a choice of pools to be in and the yields are similar, why wouldn't I join the one that I can has a Discord where I can go talk to people that are obviously also involved with that, as opposed to just some random fixed pool.
But doesn't the YBX pool take a certain percentage as well?
No
of the emissions.
No. Nope. The backstop take rate and everything is the same between the two pools. It's just it'll always have more assets and more flexibility, and there's talk of
DAO had to claim emissions.
Yeah, because the DAO treasury is heavily invested in the backstop, and so
it's in the backstop.
Yeah.
It's a participant. Sorry.
Yeah, and so that brings up a good point. If anyone's interested in Blend and has not participated in the backstop, go research about it. But right now, there's actually a bootstrap going on for the Yield Blocks pool, and so the Yield Blocks project was granted like 7.5 million Blend when Blend launched, and that's in the treasury in addition to YBX tokens. But to be in the backstop, you need USDC and Blend. And so the backstop either single side deposits a ton of Blend, which would not be great because it would have to sell off 20% of that to get USDC to make the LP tokens, because it's a stable 80-20 for those LP tokens to go in the backstop. So instead they do bootstraps, and they basically say, here's 1 million Blend. We need the USDC to match with that to then create LP tokens to put in the backstop. So it's a great way. It usually sometimes closes at a discount. So it's a good way to get involved with the Blend backstops, in particular the Yield Blocks backstop, for a discount. I think currently LP tokens are worth maybe like 10.5 cents. And I think the current price in the bootstrap is like 7 cents, I believe. Mm-hmm. So great way to get in at a discount. And I can try and put that here in.
There's tons of opportunities on chain. I think that's what people forget is like we go up 8x. What did we go up? Like a crap ton.
It was like 5. We were like 12 to 60 cents or something.
It was a lot. Anyways, like end of October, we were at 7 cents. So like the fact that we've gone up so quickly has brought on a lot of people. And it's funny because like the conversation that we see on Reddit or Twitter or whatever are people that have gone in at maybe 50 cents or whatever, and they've already lost money and they're like, oh no, doom and gloom. But you got to remember, this project like hasn't gotten a lot of attention in a long time. And we all know that its value is there. But going up too quickly in any crypto ecosystem, any crypto chain or whatever, it's just high risk. Like you're essentially like chasing a candle. There's no basis of normality. There's no something only has value if we both agree that value is there. And right now there's no kind of understanding of what a value something is. We're kind of discovering what that price is. So
price discovery can be fun.
Yeah. And that's the basis of all TA, is like creating that normality, creating that basis that we understand what a price should be. If you are new to Stellar, I would say don't look at the price, look at the opportunities on chain, because like we were saying, like APR on Blend is what, 110%, looks super scammy, but it's worth at least checking out. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. People, I still don't think people realize there's so many people that, can I stake my XLM anywhere? It's like, no, that's not a thing. Don't there. Sorry, let's stop there and say there is a huge amount of scam emails that are being sent out
for sure.
talking about, what is it? Buyback program, I think, is the current one. Normally it's some sort of staking reward, but most recently there's been a lot of people show up saying, hey, where did my XLM go for the buyback program? And it's just like, oh man, dude, that doesn't exist. So scam warning, there are tons of scams.
Or fake
if it
websites
doesn't exist on like a trusted social media, come into Stellar Global on Discord, come into the dev Discord and ask before you ever log into someplace sketchy. If something sounds too good to be true, it is. I mean, granted, the whole reason that I brought this up is because we were just talking about the backstop on Blend kind of seeming scammy because the rewards are so high, but that is legit. You can claim those LP tokens out of the backstop after 21 days. But yeah, scam warning, big scam warning there. But
it's interesting seeing all these new people, and I don't want to lose them. I want them to feel like they're a part of something. But you shouldn't jump on and off and chase stuff. You really need to spend time and learn things properly. That's the biggest piece of advice that I would tell anyone. Like, there's so many different ecosystems, and it's all about the friends you make along the way.
That's easy to say, right? Yes. But yeah, it does need to be. I mean, I think SDF's been doing a good job at trying to turn the attention that's come on because of price, try and funnel that into, okay, well, there's actually something that backs this up. Like, look at all the stuff we're doing. Here's the stuff you could do. So there is kind of that redirect that needs to happen when people are like, hey, how do I make money? And you're like, okay, well, come check out this other stuff. Or like, why is the token up so much? It's like, well, let's show you what we've been doing and what's been going on and what's being
let's have like a marketing
event, yeah. So it's good to educate them and let them know that there are opportunities to earn on chain, and hopefully many more coming down the pipeline. So
I just want that same energy when the markets are rough. That's our hope, is that we need to build a big stellar community while things are hot, that when things are cold in the crypto ecosystem, that we still have a lot of things that we can build and make and tinker with.
Yeah, that's tough. People disappear for winters, but I think the more mature the industry gets, and I think from peak to valley, it's going to be a lot less. The more cycles we go through, it's not going to be everything drawn down 80-90%. I mean, the junk probably, but I think the more mature the industry gets as a whole, the more, if you can call it stable, the more stable things will be, just from top to bottom. So.
And we have a ton of ways, like we have a far way to go before we're ready as an ecosystem to be just adopted in general. Like, it's a speculator's market, and we can see it at that conference.
Yeah. With memes.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were memes coming through SCF. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is it good?
All right. Is any questions or any?
No. Lumen's Lord said, there was one thing here. I don't think you must be talking about the yield blocks pool, because EURC is not in the
or FXL.
EURC is not. There is the EURX, I believe.
I think FXL has a Euro token, no?
Yeah. In the fixed, in Blend, in fixed yield. Yeah. So the fixed pool only has XLM USDC, but yeah, EURC and the yield blocks pool should be good.
Oh, yield blend, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I knew what you meant. No worries. Got you.
And that's a really easy way of staying liquid.
What's that?
When you borrow and lend those assets, those stable assets, you're liquid. Essentially, you can take out whenever you need to and do your thing. You're not locked into a backstop.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, before we jump off here, anyone that's listening, we'd love feedback on what you guys want to see. We're here to make make content, whether it's educational stuff, whether it's just shooting the shit like this. But give us some feedback, what you guys want to hear, what you guys want more of. Do you guys want stuff more regularly on a schedule? Would you prefer something kind of like weekly at a certain time? Do you you don't care about seeing our ugly mugs? We should just do this on Spaces. What's your preferred method of consuming this content? So give us some feedback. Either leave us a message on Discord, shoot us a DM on Discord, comment on YouTube, Twitter, or sorry, X, the Everything app. Really whatever, but feedback's good. We were just at an event that was asking for a ton of feedback, and it was nice to be able to give that to them. So we would appreciate some of the same, and you guys let us know what you want to see and how you want to see it, when you want to see it, and if you'd rather just hear it than see it.
We have a couple of streams coming up here. Hopefully, we have Dogstar on next Tuesday. Some info coming out right away for that. Be nice to feature them. And then possibly next week, also Balance, the one that we kind of talked about briefly here.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for jumping on. Glad you made it back safe and sound. And hope you had fun playing pickleball. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for joining.